Hey guys, Tyler from Duelcaster here. This week I'm doing a deck tech for Karlov of the Ghost Council to cap off the Duel Commander tournament I posted in March and April 2018. If you want to see that full 5-round event, just click on the playlist section of the channel. Karlov is a top tier commander right now, especially since the life total changed from 30 to 20. It's just so easy to grow him to massive proportions with the incidental life gain on cards you wouldn't mind playing anyway in a black-white deck. And his ability to exile opposing creatures is surprisingly relevant and easy to pull off. You might enjoy this deck if you're spiky and like getting off to an early lead before slamming the door shut on your opponents, but you also enjoy playing a commander that's more of a build around than just a pile of good cards. Let's take a look. The strategy for this deck is to start by clearing the way for a massive Karlov with hand disruption. Then you want to play out Karlov and try to protect him as much as possible while growing him at the same time. And then finally, you put the nail in the coffin by forcing them to continually chump block with good creatures or giving them evasion to push through damage. There aren't a whole lot of ways to win that don't involve Karlov in some capacity. It's pretty all-in in that regard. And the incidental life gain helps keep you alive against aggro opponents. Alright, let's break this down by category here. I'm starting with creatures that can gain life and therefore grow Karlov. I have the Soul Sisters, which are classic. Soul Warden and Soul's Attendant both let you gain life whenever a creature comes into play, so not only can you get Karlov make him into 4/4 right away on turn 2, potentially, but you can gain a life, grow him every time a creature comes into play, which is all the time in this format. Then we have some 1-drop lifelinker cards like Sacred Cat and Hopeful Eidolon and Vault Scourge. These are just another way to make Karlov into a 4/4 on turn 2, and repeat that over and over and over again by attacking. All right. Other things, they're pretty, there's some value creatures like Timna and Comball and stuff like that, and some heavy hitters and Archangel of Thune and Obsidat too, but you really don't need to cast these cards most of the time to win. And then we have some protection here. I have quite a few cards that fall into this category. There's a couple creatures, Benevolent Bodyguard and Mother of Runes, can give you protection for Karlov even when you're tapped out, like right away on turn 2. We have Lightning Greaves, Selfless Spirit, and Bastion Protector can give him indestructible. But even better than indestructible in my experience is protection from a color. So I just kept going up and up on cards like Brave the Elements here. These cards are just fantastic in Karlov. I keep wanting to add more and more and more. Not only do they counter a removal spell, but they push through damage by giving them protection from whatever color their blockers are. So it's aggressive and defensive at the same time, which is great. Other ways to push through damage here in this category, Griff Spoon's probably the best. It's just so cheap. You can just put it on Karlov and do anything, multiple things in the same turn. You can get it back from your graveyard. It's just an all-star in this deck. I added Gift of Orzhova after the league happened. I thought that I wanted more ways to give Karlov evasion, and this seemed like a good way to do it. Just be careful with all those, Brave the Elements and God's Willing type effects. If you give Karlov pro-black, the Gifts of Orzhova will fall off. Some spicy little tech here. I like Essence Harvest. This card is another way to just win the game even after they've kind of neutralized Karlov as an attacker, or they have like a Death Touch creature or something, but you can still just end the game really quickly with that. And Elspeth, of course, can give him flying. Okay, then we have a bunch of disruption here. I have Discard. A lot of the usual suspects here in black-white, just these really efficient cards to mess with your opponent's game plan. The 1-mana Duress, Inquisition, Thoughtseize. We have Hymn to Turok. Gerard's Verdict is nice because you can potentially gain some life and grow Karlov with that. Then I have some creature removal, Swords to Plowshares, Path, Fatal Push. I'm not going to go through these all. Collective Brutality is really nice because all the modes are good. Like killing a blocker is great, nabbing one of their cards in their hand, but then gaining 2 life is also putting 2 counters in Karlov, so that's great. Then we have, black-white has a lot of good ways to get rid of any permanent, not just creatures. You have Council's Judgment, Vindicate, and Anguish on making to take out enchantments, artifacts, whatever you need. And then cards like, get some incidental value off of cards like Vraska's Contempt. Normally I wouldn't play this, but just you gain 2 life. You can deal with the Planeswalker, gain 2 life, grow Karlov, and try to slam the door shut that way. Face Fetters as well to gain some life and neutralize a a threat from your opponent. Then we have cards that are kind of a miscellaneous category here. Unearth, you can let Karlov die, get him back with Unearth, and then even if they kill him again, he only costs 4, so really this is a deck where you can just recast your commander over and over again, and he's going to be good. Yeah, I have Stoneforge Mystic here. I used to play Batterskull, but I don't do that anymore. I thought it was slow. Jite is just what you want anyway, 99% of the time. And then some nice synergy cards in Curse of the Forsaken. This card lets you swing with your team, and I don't know, if you just have 3 creatures all of a sudden Karlov is a +6/+6 even before combat damage happens. So that's really awesome. And Survival Cache, again, just this card advantage, multiple iterations of life gain, and very rarely are you going to not be able to draw a card off this. And then Kaya, again, for that repeatable life gain and card advantage. As far as lands go, the only ones I really wanted to mention were these lands that gain life when they enter the battlefield. There's a few of these. Normally you wouldn't play them in any 2-color deck or whatever, but they're really good in Karlov. Just the easiest, cheapest ways to grow Karlov. You have Scoured Barrens, Radiant Fountain, Seraph Sanctuary, which actually can gain life off angels too, like Archangel of Thune, and then Kabira Crossroads. And then Vault of the Archangel can give your whole team lifelink, and Shambling Vent has lifelink as well. So what are some good matchups for Karlov? Well, other aggro decks that are kind of really low to the ground, like Zurgo, for example, because of the life gain you have, you can get Karlov out of burn range pretty quickly, and the life gain keeps you alive. Kythian or Thalia, White Weenie could be a pretty good matchup because you go over the top of them while surviving with life gain. Even Control that relies heavily on targeted removal, like Kess, might be a good matchup because you have so many ways to give Karlov protection from a color. Bad matchups would be Blue Control or Tempo with heavy bounce and counter spells, like Baral, Janara, or some partner builds could be tough. Combo decks that are either faster than you or don't care about your life gain, for example, Prosh could be a tough matchup because it's fast while supplying endless chump blockers at the same time. All right, what are some budget replacements? This deck is kind of a flat cost deck. It's a lot of like mid-level price cards, I would say. But Dark Confidant's a really expensive card. I would, if I were looking to replace this, if I wanted a similar effect, I would go with Twilight Prophet, new card out of Rivals of Ixalan. Kind of does the same thing. Except 4 mana is a lot in this deck, and you're not going to always have the City's Blessing, so Dark Confidants is better for that reason. Collective Brutality, I already sung the praises of this card earlier, but if you had to replace it and you wanted a similar effect, you could go with Tribute to Hunger, so that would add a little extra dimension of non-targeted removal and life gain. And then Umezawa's Jite, really, really good card. If this wasn't in here, I probably would take out Stoneforge Mystic, honestly. But if you don't have a Jite, you could, and you wanted a similar effect, you could put in Power Matrix. It's an old kind of obscure card from Mercadian Masks, but it does a lot of what you want to do. Give Karlov Trample, First Strike. You don't have to worry about chump blockers or Death Touch or anything like that. It actually gives it flying too, so that's pretty sweet. So that's Karlov for you. I hope you enjoyed this deck tech. If you like the content and you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the DCM YouTube channel. I post at least one new 1v1 Commander video every week, so there's always some new stuff brewing. You can find the deck list to the deck featured today in the video description below, and let me know in the comments what you think of the deck and any changes you might suggest to make it better. Thanks for watching, and see you next week.